Adam Park was really built from 1928 to around 1932, and it comprises of 19 houses. It was really for the officers coming from England, from the UK, to places like these. And I think one of the features of it is really the airiness of it. They have wide verandas, very important, very high ceilings. They're also raised on piers. This all lends to the ventilation of the house. So keeping the occupants happy, very important, because these guys came all the way to work.
House 7 was built for bachelors. That's why it's got several different rooms, and then they share facilities like kitchen and so on. They probably would have servants to cook for them, clean for them also. It's probably why it's got such a large car park, because they would have had different cars.
It's like a dream posting. Many of them came here, they're treated like kings. They had a whole house to themselves. So everything was, really nice for them. You can see them chilling out in the garden, children playing around, having lunch parties. And I think that was really life for them. Yeah. Lots of social activities too.
Last night, Japanese forces attacked.
During the Japanese occupation, Adam Park was actually used as a prisoner of war camp for part of the occupation.
On the last 3 days of the battle for Singapore, one of the fiercest fighting happened at Adam Park and its surrounding areas. This area was nicknamed the Hellfire Corner because it was the meeting point between the advancing Japanese from the north who were heading towards the city after capturing Bukit Timah Hill.
The soldiers who were actually fighting here, they actually surrendered. So many of the prisoners of war here were actually deployed to work. They even had a canteen functioning in Adam Park, as well as a chapel where they could spend some money to buy snacks and whatnot, food even.
There were trenches dug around, and these served as useful positions for the staff who worked in the headquarters. So this became the battalion headquarters of the Cambridgers throughout the fighting that took place over here.
They set up house number 17 for REP. The medics and the orderlies made use of everything they could that was left behind by the residents. They set up a tentage behind the house for surgeries. They removed the doors to be used as stretchers. They propped up furniture against the windows. But by the 15th of February, the RAP was overwhelmed with casualties. The medics and orderlies were so busy that even some of the wounded who could walk had to help. On that morning, 6 ambulances arrived to provide some relief, to bring some of the casualties back to the city. But they were all blown up, and all the medical supplies that were in it were also gone.
Behind it, house number 11 also got badly damaged. The top floor of the house was more or less half demolished. So that was actually used as the chapel by the chaplain. He was somebody who could speak Japanese. So he also served as the interpreter between the prisoners of war and the Japanese. They decorated it with paintings and a makeshift kind of stained glass window from painting the glass. The paint to draw these drawings included things like the yellowish mud that they dug up from the garden, as well as, I think they put some Bible verses and things like that there. So this chapel was actually a source of kind of spiritual and psychological support for the prisoners who were staying here during that part of the occupation.
By the time they surrendered, they realized that the Japanese already surrounded the state and infiltrated into some of the houses. There was even one Japanese sniper who was perched on a coconut tree right next to house number 7, the battalion HQ, and he only came down after the surrender.
there was this eureka moment because somebody looked at an aerial photograph. It was this cartographer by the name of Mok Lai-Ying who was assisting John Cooper. And they managed to identify the new roofs. And this was really how they managed to say, okay, it should be number 11 because they knew the shape of the house. It had a new roof. None of the other houses of a similar shape had that roof. So that part must have been reconstructed and they must have replaced the whole roof.
A lot of people ask me what it's like living in black and white houses, and I always say, well, you either love it or hate it because there's going to be ants and snakes and rats and all sorts of things. But for me, I love it because you also have the nature. I've always felt it's such a privilege to be able to live in a place like this. I feel like I should share it. So I would host events here and do tours where I show people the house and I explain about the history and all I've learned, just so that they too can appreciate the value of something like this. Because if you just isolate them and say, okay, someone's living there, yeah, you can't do it.
It is important that it continues to be tenantable, because when the houses are not lived in, there's no one to maintain the houses, so the buildings will deteriorate faster.
I like to see them being used as something where we can connect with it. So very often we keep buildings alive, but unfortunately most of the general public can't go in, can't see it, can't visit. So what's the purpose of keeping it alive?
So I think it's good to know our history, because when you know where you come from and things that have happened, it helps inform your sense of who you are, where you come from, and it helps you think about where you may want the country to move on towards.